We all have to eat. You might as well find out where the best food is. From restaurant reviews to the fun of food from around the region to around the world. This is The Food Show with Andrew Coppolino on 570 News.
And welcome to the show. This is Andrew Coppolino, and this is The Food Show. Really glad you could join us today. First off, though, I have to ask for your sympathy. I'm just working on one of those horrible summer colds, and not feeling at 100%. I'll also ask, I'll apologize and ask for you to forgive my apologies when I have to turn away from the mic for a bout of coughing. Just awful. One of those things that just bothers you during the summer. Now, really excited to have with us in a little while. Let's start with someone right now. Scott Yates of Wildcraft Wherever Catering joins me in the studio. He's our in-studio guest today. And if you want to see what Scott looks like, you just have to take a look at 570news.com and go to the webcast page, and you can see what's happening here in the studio. And welcome to Scott Yates. Good to have you on the show.
Thanks, Andrew. Pleasure to be here.
You got a lot of great-looking equipment here. This is one of those exciting moments for a guy like me who plays with food at a distance, and now I'm sitting in front of a pro and a guy that has some pretty funky-looking stuff here. We're going to be having a little bit of fun with some poly-science technical cookery equipment.
We are. Sous vide is what we're looking at. It's fun to play with as well, for amateurs and for pros.
And I see over, too, maybe our Greg Bowen, our video guy, can get pictures of some of the equipment you've got over on the sideboard, as it were, the 570 News Studio sideboard, with some books by some famous American authors and ones who are, I guess, leaders. Also, Heston Blumenthal's there, so an English author as well. Leaders in the sort of the molecular gastronomy, modernist cuisine realm. Yes,
exactly. Thomas Keller's my personal favorite. Being in his restaurant and getting to sample this firsthand, it really got me excited about doing sous vide and the process of it. And
it's a fun thing. It's a professional level that you're working with here with the equipment, but maybe later in the show you tell us a little bit about some sort of practical home applications for people who aren't obviously cooking at the same level as Heston Blumenthal and all of those kind of guys.
Yeah, with the expense as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Also, this is an exciting thing we have on the show today. It's Food Network celebrity chef Roger Mooking. Now, he has a new television show premiering September 1st. It's called Heat Seekers, and Roger will join us for a chat a little bit later to discuss this tongue testing odyssey, they call it. It's on Food Network Canada. I like Roger Mooking. He has a show right now. It's called Everyday Exotic, and I guess he's branching out with a co-celebrity chef, Aaron Sanchez, who's chef for City. But Everyday Exotic I kind of like because it's simple, it's welcoming, it's comfortable, cozy, easy to sort of follow along what he's doing, very relaxing, and it's nice to see sort of where you can sit and watch somebody cook professionally and yet pick up some tips that you can use at home. You don't need that, but the rest of us do. We also have a local pub, Chainsaw Saloon. They put together a thing called Lip Smacking fundraising event for the Canadian Lyme Disease Foundation at Month's End, and it features some interesting food and an interesting theme. We'll talk a little bit to Ryan Good a little later in the hour. You can get more information by going to bit.ly/570lipsmacker2011, and that's all lowercase and case sensitive, so check it out at bit.ly/570 Lipsmacker 2011 to get more information there. So you're involved with the larger group at local here, the sort of the almost, I guess, premier culinary institution in the region, and that's the Charcoal Group. You have a very defined sort of niche that you're working in. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Scott Yates?
Exactly. I'm the chef de cuisine of catering through Wildcraft. We call ourselves Wildcraft Wherever because we will go wherever, do whatever.
Whatever.
See whatever. Yeah. My favorite word, whatever. We're just branching out and trying to get into different areas just to show our expertise, our professionalism, the quality of our food, the fun we have doing it, and just being able to create new dishes, new ideas, and just go beyond what the traditional caterers do.
You're a relatively new to the culinary world. You're one of the classic, I guess, scenarios where people are in one line of work or one profession, and they suddenly have this sort of epiphanic moment, I guess, and bang, I want to be a chef, and off you went and did some training. Tell us a little bit about your background, how you got to this point where you're now sitting beside an $800 poly-science sous vide machine, immersion circulator.
Yeah, if 10 years ago, if somebody said I'd be doing that, I'd be saying,
"What?
What the hell is a sous vide machine?" But no, it is my second career. I was in I'll tell you, I was in the automotive industry for probably 18 years, and I always had a passion to cook. And I thought one day, why not get paid to do something you really like to do? And so I did. I went to school. I graduated 2003, and just started moving forward from there. Got involved with a few companies in town here.
Well, one we can mention, because Dana was just on the show, you sort of cut your chops, I guess, at Dana Short Gourmet, and learned a little bit of the back end of things and how food is produced and then sold to in a retail climate.
Exactly, yeah. Dana was kind enough to give me an opportunity to step in as she was starting her business, and we really grew from there, and just gave me more opportunities.
Now, there's different kinds of chefs. Whenever you think about this, well, no, I guess it's the other way around. You sort of think of a chef as a chef, but there's sort of a broader spectrum of the different kinds of things that chefs do. So you have a personal chef who works for, a group of clients. You've got line cooks who, slug it out every day, doing dishes that are particular kinds of cuisine. You've got, executive chefs. You've got sous chefs. You've got a whole line of different, levels and hierarchies. And some people only make sauces, and some people only grill meats, and all the rest of it. And you've sort of specialized in the catering end of things, and that goes beyond just the training that you had at school and with Dana. It goes into going to conferences and checking out sort of what the industry says that catering is. Tell us a little bit about what's that like, or how has catering grown in your perception?
I believe, catering's just exploded, I think. It's just such a wealth of knowledge. The people out there are incredible to network with. It's just learning, seeing what's going on around the world. I'm involved with the International Caterers Association, which is called the ICA, and we network right across the country, right across North America, and we follow each other, just learning different ideas, how to make everything better. You just want to always improve. You're just always thinking outside the box.
I think that's sort of what I've seen with catering. It used to be, there'd be like, I don't know, spring rolls, simple basic spring rolls with plum sauce, or little cocktail weenies wrapped pigs in blankets or something. But I think catering has followed, or my understanding is, or my awareness, I guess, is that catering has expanded from those basic kind of humdrum, almost like ballpark kind of food, to moving into where the rest of cooking has gone at some very elite levels of preparations and some interesting techniques, and a really rarefied air for what I think was formerly pretty schlocky kind of cuisine. It's now you're doing the same kinds of things that a lot of the restaurants are doing in a catering setting.
Exactly, and that's what we want to portray. I mean, we want to actually execute even better than we can do in the restaurant. That's our goal, or that's my personal goal. Is that. I'm
speaking with Scott Yates, of course, from Wildcraft, the charcoal group, and Wildcraft wherever catering. You can look them up at bit.ly/570 Wildcraft. Again, all lowercase will give you an idea of what goes on at that institution. You're a Red Seal chef. Now, that doesn't have anything to do with being a Navy SEAL. You don't do any kind of work underwater. But
well, I'm doing work underwater right now.
Very good. See, I've got a bit of a cold. So I'm not on my quickest synapses today. Yeah, okay, you are working underwater. But as a Red Seal chef, what does that mean?
It just certifies. Everyone says it's a piece of paper, but it's a big deal.
A lot of work to get there.
It is. It's a lot of hours, a lot of training, a lot of knowledge, and I just welcomed it with open arms. I am very excited, and to keep learning. And Red Seal, you can work in bigger institutions, you can teach, you can travel across the country, and just work wherever, as our name says. You've
spent some time, I guess, out of the country checking out stuff too. You've been, to some more sort of highly recognized culinary areas, like Italy, for instance.
Yeah, I was in Italy about 5 years ago. Did a little training in Italy in a family-run little business, and they had a little cooking school, so I went there and learned pastas and things like that, just to do it authentically.
What do you take away from that when you think about our culture here in North America and the way people accept, way people approach cooking and accept what restaurants are doing? How did you find it different from your time in a place like Italy, where it seems to me anyway the cultural aspects of cooking are much more deeply ingrained and maybe more traditional, I guess?
It's It's a whole different world over there. I see the waiters and the chefs very proud of what they do over there. A server there is it would be feeling like a doctor or somebody of more like it's a higher class of work over there, and they really enjoy it.
It's a profession.
It is.
Where you
exactly.
get the impression that here people are sort of moving through on where to someone else, an acting career or something.
Yeah, sometimes it's like it's just a job here, where over there it's a way of life and a proud, they carry it very proudly.
Yeah. When you're not cooking, when you're not being a professional chef.
That doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist? No. You're just 24/7?
Pretty much,
yeah. So, okay, I was going to ask you what you cook at home. So that's obviously you just go out for a bite to eat then, don't you? You're not going to get out the pans and start doing reductions and, preparing meats and trimming, cuts of beef or whatnot.
Yeah, if you saw where I lived, there's not much room to do anything. So.
Well, not when you've got all these books and sous vide equipment packed to the rafters.
Exactly, I know. Yeah, I do a lot of reading in my time down. My two boys, I see them quite a bit, and then I work, and that's all I do.
What about restaurants? Do you go to restaurants? Do you have a favorite kind of cuisine? When you're not cooking, it's late at night, you've finished up a catering job. Is there a hankering you have for a particular kind of cooking?
That's funny.
That's open at 2 in the morning?
Yeah, a greasy burger sometimes.
Yeah?
After, doing a really beautiful rack of venison. Nothing like a greasy burger.
Okay, so it's the contrast that really impresses you. So how low can you sort of go on the grease scale?
No, I like trying new restaurants. I don't like to try and repeat places just because I don't have a lot of time to do that.
What about Oriental style foods? Are you big on sort of Vietnamese, Thai, pho, that kind of cuisine? Or
not yet. No, we're working on different things. I know I'm getting into learning more curries and things like that. So,
right. Well, that's. I've found that those are very refreshing kinds of meals. You can often be light, yet they have a sort of amount of body to them, a lot of substance to them. And I've just been thinking about getting into preparing curries at home, but it's amazingly complex. How complex it really is.
It is, yeah.
Well, we're going to talk about some complex stuff coming up a little bit later with these poly sous vide machines and all the kind of great stuff that Scott's got sort of encased around him here. I am Andrew Coppolino, and this is The Food Show. We're going to have a short break now, and when we come back, it's going to be a little bit more with Chef Scott Yates. This is 570 News.
This is The Show with Andrew Coppolino on 570 News.
He likes bread and butter. He likes toasted jam. That's what baby feeds him. He's a loving man.
Well, I do like home preserving. And right now here on The Food Show, you can win this book, 250 Home Preserving Favorites. The author is Yvonne Tremblay. She's a grand champion jelly maker and known throughout North America for her work. I want the second and the fourth callers right now. I've got 2 books to give away. So the second and the fourth caller, 519-570-2545. That's 519-570-2545. And you can win 250 home preserving favorites. We'll give this book to you. So those 2 and 4 callers, please. Also, Yvonne will be appearing at the Relish Cooking School on September 20th and October 3rd. Well, she'll be talking a little bit about canning and other various cooking techniques. That's the new Relish Cooking Studio in Uptown Waterloo, I believe. And the dates for that are Tuesday, September 20th and Wednesday, October 3rd. So check the Relish website. You can probably Google that easily enough. But don't go to Bix. That's the wrong Relish. Okay. All right, Scott. off from my sort of lousy puns and jokes. Because Poly Science produces cooking equipment that's absolutely no joke, and that's sort of the main tool that you've got here. Explain what that is and what it's doing.
Well, this is Poly Science does a lot of scientific technology. They just put this application to the food industry, culinary industry. What it is an immersion circulator. So it keeps circulating the hot water through the meats. It actually cooks, basically, if you think about it, from the inside out. Okay. So water cooks easier than, say, air would if you were to do it on the grill or wherever. The immersion circulator can be set at a perfect temperature, You just find there's charts, there's applications on what types of meats, what temperatures to cook it at, and for length of time. What happens is these circulators cook for this is lamb. I've got rack of lamb in here right now, and it could cook for about an hour. And I want to cook it to about a medium rare. And
What's the temperature? Sorry, did you
It's a 133.
133.
Yeah,
133
133 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah. Which is pretty low, isn't it?
It is.
For any
It
kind
is
of cooking,
because you think of your cooking rack of lamb or something in the oven, you're cranking it up to 350, 375.
Yeah.
You're cooking way higher. So
your barbecue, you're sitting at 300, 400 degrees.
So what happens is you have to monitor that all the time when you're cooking traditionally. Whereas if you're cooking sous vide, you can basically put it in and walk away, and it's cooking on its own. And you've got time to do other things.
And it's very difficult to maintain the temperature of an oven, let's say.
Exactly.
It goes up, it goes down,
So
it
many
turns off, it goes on.
fluctuations,
You open
yeah.
the door once and you've set everything up. The barbecue's the same way.
Exactly.
This, though, keeps everything at that perfect temperature.
It's a perfect
that you
time.
need.
It's very precise. I mean, it goes to the decimal. I could set it for 133.4 if I want to.
Yeah, just to get that little extra doneness.
Yeah. So what happens is when the meat actually comes out, it's perfect color that what you want. And all I have to do is just pull it out and sear it off, and gives it that crust on the outside. If you're cooking traditionally, a lot of times you char the outside, and the internal temperature doesn't get up to exactly where you want it to be. There's little things like whether it's been in the fridge, you pull it out, put it right on the grill, or if you
That's not a good thing.
No, you want to let it rest at room temperature, bring the temperature up a bit, and then you can cook it. But
Talking with Scott Yates of Wildcraft Wherever. That's bit.ly/570 Wildcraft, and you can see what's going on. Now, in the studio, you can see what's going on, too. If you go to 570news.com and check on the webcast, click on that button, and you can see what's happening with our Polyscience immersion circulator cooking sous vide. Why is this? Why do you like this as a chef?
I like it because the quality of the meats or the food you're cooking is perfect. You're not losing any. You're not losing anything with quality. The flavors actually are more intense because the seasonings and the things you put into the bag when you're cooking this. I'll talk about vac packing, which is the way you have to do it.
Yeah.
It's more. It just cooks better that way. You
Let's
get more
get actually,
flavor.
if maybe Greg, our video operator, can get a picture on our sideboard over there. We've got 3 or 4 different products that are in their backpack bags, right? They're sitting there. They are ready to go. They've been cooked, and they're being held now. But tell us a little bit about that process, how they got into that shape in those bags, how you prepared it.
Well, basically, you have a plastic bag. You put your ingredients in and season. I put in butter a lot of times, salt and pepper, fresh herbs, things like that. I've got asparagus, carrots. I've got peaches over there. You can cook fruits, vegetables, meats. It's not just one thing you can do.
Right.
You can do anything. What happens is you put it in a vac pack machine. Our vac pack machine, by the way, is probably not one you want to use at home. It's $3,000.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, so,
I'll just pop out and get one right now. You can get those at Walmart, I bet, right?
Probably, yeah. But
But you can get cheap home
cheaper
versions,
ones,
for
yeah,
sure.
exactly. And you can do it at home. But these are more expensive because we do it in volume. We have to keep using it over and over. So
the benefit is longer storage of foods.
longer storage, more. You're not
sealing flavors in.
Yeah, you're not breaking down the foods. The nutritional value is there. You're not, if you're blanching or boiling or cooking vegetables, the nutrients aren't leaching out into the water. Everything's contained in that bag.
Okay, let's say you're doing a little for a catering job. Let's say you're doing something like a lamb chop lollipop, where you're serving a small little bit of lamb on the bone, and people are sort of nibbling off of it. I don't know how elegant that is, but if you say this is lamb chop or lamb sous vide, what are people's reaction to that? Have you found that they're accepting of it, or they go, what is that, or
Exactly,
that's crazy?
yeah. They say, what's sous vide? What does that mean?
And is it sort of when you explain it to them, do they get it? Is it something that's exciting for them? Is it something that's new?
I don't know if they're that excited about the cooking process because it takes a bit to explain. I mean, basically what you're doing is you're cooking at a lower temperature for a longer period of time, and you're pasteurizing the food so that you're killing off all the bacteria.
Right.
And
even at that low temperature.
It is, yeah. So this one I would cook for an hour and let it, be able to serve it right from there. Chicken, you can do it 147 degrees for an hour, and it comes out perfectly.
You could never do it otherwise like that, could you?
No, you can never do that.
You can't.
No. So
now I remember when I was a kid, Mom would they'd go away for the evening or something, and they'd leave us dinner, and it was those Shopsy's corned beef in a bag, and you used to just pop them into boiling water, then cut them open, put them on some rye bread, add some mustard, and you had sous vide Shopsy's. But that's sort of this is the sort of the logical extension.
It
from
is.
a culinary.
That's where they got the idea from. The little boil in the bag
Yeah.
came from this idea. It was brought over, I'd say, in the 70s by a French
no doubt.
French chef. Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Thomas Keller's done an incredible job promoting it and just showing the world what can be done with it.
I don't have that much of a refined palate, but would you be able to tell the difference between a sous vide lamb chop and one that was cooked in another way, like that obviously wasn't charred black? Would you be able to distinguish? Is the flavor of the meat better? Is it different? Texture's different?
The texture and the flavor. You get a more intense flavor right through the meat because you're not searing off the outside of it right away. What you're doing is you're infusing all the flavors into the meat, and then you're searing it off afterwards. So it's holding in the flavors, whereas cooking traditionally, you're gonna lose some of that. Right?
Now, it must take a certain amount of experimentation too, because you have to practice to know how long you're going to do the asparagus. I mean, maybe there's recipes and guides that you can sort of follow, but the thickness of a piece of asparagus or the density of a particular protein, when you're cooking that, must be a lot of trial and error here that you go through to try to get the right balance, the right temperature, the right length of time.
Oh, there is, for sure. And we're always still learning. It's like for us, we're in a 6 or 8 month process of learning. We're working with the health department on techniques, the proper safety issues.
Do they have some concerns about it, the health department?
At first they did,
Yeah.
but we worked together. We came to them and said, this is what we're doing, and they were very
So in other words, if
receptive
an
of
inspector walked in and wanted to test meats, he'd be looking at that thinking
Yeah.
it's not going to be cooked at a high enough temperature to make
I
it
think,
safe.
I think they're educated
you're seeing it now?
on that now.
And that's
we
your
keep
job
yeah.
is to train them that.
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. And we keep a logbook of every temperature we take. So we take a temperature of the meat going into the bag. We
Wow.
take the temperature of the meat while it's
Like you don't have enough to do already.
well, that's why we're just putting it in water and letting it cook.
Yeah.
So we
So
have
can
time to
the
do
time
that,
to do
right?
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what else do we need to know about it? What's the wildest thing you've ever cooked? Sous vide.
Sous vide. I think just fruits.
Yeah.
Like I know the meats are great. You can do whatever you want. You can do eggs.
Yeah.
Yeah. We can do.
What about sweetbreads or
Yeah.
some kind of offal meat like
Well,
that?
we could. Yeah. Awful.
Offal.
It's.
Could you do that in
we
there?
could do,
I mean,
yeah.
because it's
we
it's
could
a
do foie
delicate.
gras.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah, you can do all that, and then it cooks perfectly, and then all you have to do is sear it off. So,
Yeah, and you don't want to ruin.
no, you're
something
not
like
going to
foie
ruin
gras.
foie gras.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. Well, yeah. Do we need to know sort of any other techniques? I mean, if the home chef wanted to do something like this, what do they need? What are the basics they need? They're not going to buy a $3,000 backpack.
No.
They're not going to buy an $800. Some will. Some are crazy fanatics
Some
about it.
can,
Some
exactly.
can. That's right.
You can buy a vac-pack machine probably at Costco or Walmart, like you said, probably about $130. And you can buy a sous vide machine. It's all in one, so it won't look as attractive as this. It looks more like more counter-friendly, like say
okay.
a bread maker or a deep fryer or something like that. You can probably, I've seen them online for about $400. And what it is, it combines the circulator, it combines the thermometer,
Yeah.
it combines the tank for holding all
Yeah,
the
you've
water.
just got like a restaurant bus bin
Yeah,
or prep
exactly.
bucket or whatever you
Mhm.
call them, and then so you don't really need to be too fancy in that
Yeah.
regard, do you?
And then when I have more, like what I like to do is I take the sous vide machine to caterings, to weddings, and what I'm doing. You've had the traditional wedding chicken.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah,
dry.
I love it, yeah.
it's
Yeah.
great. And we've been finding taking the sous vide machine to weddings. I've never heard so many compliments on the food and the quality.
But the
and
quantity,
taste.
like let's say it's a 400-person wedding, you've got the ability to get churn through 180 portions of chicken and
Yeah, we've got tanks. I've got
That
a
are big
bigger
enough?
tank
Okay.
that's probably 3 times the size of this. We've got more of that. And also, we're not serving chicken to 200 or 400 people. What we do, which is beyond what most caterers do, is we take people's orders on site.
Mm.
It's like taking the restaurant
Oh, I
to
see.
you.
Okay.
So
Oh,
that's why
interesting.
we're Wildcraft Wherever.
Ah.
So we cook steaks 2 color on site. We do the sous vide chicken, which turns out perfectly. We do whatever other protein you like, but it's kind of neat. It's like the restaurant atmosphere coming to
It
your
is
venue.
the technical aspect of it too.
Mhm.
Very good. Well, thank you. Scott Yates is the chef de cuisine at Wildcraft Wherever, and he's been in the studio with me with some some sous vide equipment, and kind of interesting modernist kind of applications of, and electronic, I guess, applications of cooking techniques. Thanks for joining me. I hope you stick around, though.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, good, because coming up, the everyday exotic celebrity chef Roger Mooking has a new television show called Heat Seekers, and there'll be a chat with Roger Mooking when we come back. And you are listening to 570 News.
Hi, I'm
And welcome back once again. We are The Food Show. I am Andrew Coppolino. In the studio with me is Scott Yates. He's doing a little work with his sous vide equipment here, sort of in the background. So as you're watching on 570news.com and hitting the webcast button, you'll be able to see maybe what he's doing in studio. I just want to say congratulations to June Leach and Monica Muir right here in Waterloo Region. They win the 250 Home Preserving Favorites Cookbook by Yvonne Tremblay, and we'll make sure that we get that out to you. Congratulations, June and Monica. Now, if you're a fan of Food Network television, then you likely know the chillaxing host of Everyday Exotic, Roger Mooking. You may even know that Mooking is also a recording artist in addition to being a culinary artist. And now, Mooking and co-host Aaron Sanchez are set to launch their new Food Network show, Heat Seekers, September 1st. That kicks off here in Canada. Roger Mooking joins me on the line. Hello, Roger.
Hey, how you doing, Buff?
I'm doing really well. How are you? It's great that you joined us here.
Man, it's a beautiful day today, so I'm just happy to be alive, B.
Well, that's great. I mean, the Everyday Exotic is sort of a popular show. I mean, a lot of people like to watch the sort of the relaxed style that you have. Just tell us a little bit about how that show got its start before we get into the new one.
Well, I was talking to the Food Network for kind of many years back and forth and juggling ideas, and, we finally settled between opening restaurants and a bunch of different things, making an album and all that stuff. We kind of settled on one idea that we really felt passionate about it from my personal standpoint, and something that they felt that they needed to fill the gap in their programming. And, it's been doing really well, and it's launched in Canada, but since then it's, we got like 300, 400 million viewers around the world, and
wow.
Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Poland, New Zealand, Middle East. It's really taken off, and America picked up on it last year, and we've been very, very blessed with that show.
Now, are you a food interested guy since the days when you couldn't even see the top of the kitchen counter and you were just sort of hanging around Mom's knees while she was cooking?
For sure, man, for sure. Like 3 years old, I knew I wanted to be a chef, so I was always focused and kicking around the kitchen and learning what I could.
Okay, well, we're moving ahead now because on September 1st you've got a new show launching. It's called, and I guess that's an appropriate term to use with the word Heat Seekers, like it's some kind of a missile you're launching. But it's Heat Seekers. It's launching September 1st. Tell us what that show is all about. It's with a friend of yours, Aaron Sanchez.
Yeah, Aaron Sanchez and myself, we travel all around America, and we seek out hot and spicy food. And, really we just go out, we have a lot of fun, man. We just kind of rib each other, and it's kind of like watching two old bosom buddies rolling around America, and we're searching out hot and spicy food. And he's Mexican, so he comes with a certain expertise with chilies, and with my background in the Caribbean and Chinese, we kind of bring those two worlds together with our knowledge with chilies. And, we just look for the hottest, spiciest food, and at the end of the day, every episode, we battle one another to see who can really handle the heat and take home the title as Heat Seeker,
Okay. You'll have to excuse me, a little bit distracted because our in-house chef here is cooking up some stuff in the studio, and I'm being somewhat seduced by the aromas that are coming from the pan. I can't even see what they are. But Roger, what the premise of the show is a bit of a competition. I know you don't want to give away stuff before the show actually airs, but how difficult was this? You're a man that obviously knows heat when it comes to cooking and peppers, but what's your palate like? Is it made of sort of tough stuff that can handle the hot stuff?
Well, I grew up in a Caribbean household. I'm born in Trinidad, and in Trinidad, like, every table is dressed outside of the knives and forks. Every table is dressed with hot sauce, right? And every family makes their own hot sauce and likes a different level of heat. So I kind of grew up with that, and my favorite sandwich growing up was, bread, butter, and hot sauce. And none of the kids in the other schools would trade with me their sandwiches, So I kind of grew up around that, and I love it, man. And so it's really kind of been easy for me to transition into this show, Heat Seekers, and really deliver on that because, I live that,
Do you want to tell us about the first show, what people might see?
I believe the first episode that's airing in Canada is New Orleans, if
right.
I'm not mistaken. So we travel to New Orleans. We look for, every region that we go in America is very, very regional. So in New Orleans, we go after the Cajun stuff, crawfish, alligator sausages, and we really go headlong into what is regionally specific. And so we really attack it in New Orleans, and it's a lot of fun, man. And you get to hear all the accents and everybody trying to really kill us with their different kind of heat, and everybody's got their mama's secret recipe that's the bomb. So it's a lot of fun, man.
I'm speaking with Roger Mooking, Everyday Exotic and Heat Seekers on Food Network Canada, and he also has his own website, and you can visit him at rogermooking.com. What do you think of the reception? I mean, how far can these cooking shows continue to go? I mean, this one seems a bit new in terms of looking specifically at the heat aspect of cooking. The possibilities, are they running out of ideas, or do you believe that there's just this open field of play that chefs can work in when it comes to food television?
Well, food television is one thing. It's just an extension of the food. And one thing that I love about food is you'll never learn everything there is to learn about food in one lifetime. Like if I was a knitter, I could learn everything there is to learn about knitting in one lifetime, really.
Okay. I'm going to refer all the knitters' calls of complaint into you, okay?
I mean, in the breath of an entire lifetime, right?
I know.
But, like with food, it's so broad, and things that are a tried and true rule in France, those rules get completely abolished if you go to some parts of China. And,
right.
There's so much ground level information and high level information when it comes to cooking and food that it's nonstop, man. So to hone in on heat is a very natural thing, but we could just as easily hone in on, peaches and do a whole thing on peaches, it's so expansive. That's really why I love it.
Now, were there encounters there that you've never experienced before, or had most of the ingredients that you were being asked to ingest, were they somewhat familiar to you?
Well, the ingredients one thing, but there's some levels of heat, man, that are just destructive.
Right.
And we definitely encountered some of those, and you can watch and you'll see what's up. But I recently never had ghost pepper before. Ghost pepper is a fairly new pepper, and it up until recently was the number one hottest pepper on the Scoville scale.
Right.
Since then, it's been taken out on record by another pepper called the Scorpion Butch Tea pepper.
Yikes.
So I've yet to try that one, but those ghost peppers, they are hot, boy, let me tell you.
Well, can I ask you, would you sing for us, or would you rap a little tune for us? Because that's also something that you do.
Yeah, what do you want to hear, man?
I don't know. Surprise us.
Surprise you?
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Theme from your show.
Man. Check this out. If you go to my website and you launch the audio player,
all right,
you can hear loads of music on there.
All right. We'll
it's better than the reception you get.
Yeah, that's true. That's
true.
What I mean? Always concerned about quality control, the chef, right?
Quality control, man. It's about quality control. I'm meticulous when it comes to my stuff.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us, taking some time out, and giving us a little bit of the background of the show and some of the things that people can look forward to. And it was great to speak with you here.
Thank you very much, man. Have a good day, all right?
Bye-bye now. That's Roger Mooking. You can visit and find out more about the new show Heat Seekers, Food Network Canada. That's foodnetwork.ca, I believe. If it's my show. Let me just double check that for you. Yeah, foodnetwork.ca, and then of course Roger's own website is Roger Mooking, rogermooking.com. Well, there you go. So Heat Seekers, you got some heat going on here. You got some something cooking away in that pan. What is that?
I got some jus ready to go for the lamb I'm going to sear off for you. I'm going to get to try it in the studio here.
Yeah. So what do you think? What did you hear there from Roger?
That's exciting. He's exactly right about saying that you never learn enough, or never learn everything. There's just always something new, and you could travel the world, like he said.
Do you like hot stuff? Like some chefs don't like cooking with really hot stuff because sometimes it can, if it's out of control, it can destroy a balance or a subtlety of flavors that are there.
Exactly.
Would you consider yourself to be somebody who likes to experiment with various kinds of Scotch bonnets and things like that? Capace?
Yeah, I wouldn't be tempted right off the bat to try one of those scorpion peppers as he talked about.
You wouldn't?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
A little too much, I think.
Yeah.
Personally, I like the heat. I don't like a ton of heat, though.
Yeah. I remember years and years ago, my father-in-law tricked me. He had some kind of peppers, but he had some kind of staging going on because he said, "Hey, Andrew, watch this," and he cut some pepper, and he put it in his mouth, and he just chewed it like he was chewing gum. And I didn't notice anything, and I never had one before. So he said, "Here, you try one." And I think he had like a dummy or something, or there was some kind of, like he had cooked it down or something, and all the heat was out of it. And then I took the thing, and it just about killed me.
It can really destroy it.
It really hurt, and it hurt for a very long time afterwards. I can tell you that. Well, it's time for another break now. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about a new charity fundraiser that's coming up with a local chainsaw saloon in Uptown Waterloo. And it has, I guess I would describe it as a triple D theme. And we're hoping, if we can get the timing right for all of this, that we'll come back and speak with Scott as well. And maybe he'll whip up a couple of parts of a dish anyway that's the benefit of the sous vide cooking in the studio. That's more on the Food Show when we return. This is 570 News.
This
Say, hey, good looking, what you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me?
And welcome back once again to the last segment of the Food Show. You can see how we look here on online via the internet, 570news.com, and click on the webcast button. In the background, you might see working around with his various sous vide magic is Chef Scott Yates, Wildcraft, wherever, and he's putting together a little lunch for me, actually. It's quite nice, and the aromas in the studio are lovely, and Scott's working diligently to show us what a sous vide dish will look like when it finally makes its way out of the immersion circulator and into a frying pan, and then onto the plate. A kind of a different end of the culinary spectrum, maybe now that we're going to talk about. It's a Bushwhacker Lip Smacker. It's a hoedown that's happening at Chainsaw Saloon. The organizer, Ryan Good, is on the line with us. Hi, Ryan. How you doing?
Hi, Andrew.
Great that you're
Good,
here.
fine.
Great that you're here with us. Now, you've decided to run a little bit of a fundraiser for a local charity. Well, I guess it's a national charity. Tell us what that is.
Yes, well, I don't know too much about the charity myself, but we brought the charity in kind of, we knew that when we wanted to do this dinner that we should have it involve a charity, and we brought this charity in. Can Lime is the name, Canadian Lime Foundation of Canada.
Right, yeah.
And what their mandate, and I can't speak to it too much, is to create awareness and outreach and with regard to Lyme disease.
Which we should point out is actually has a prevalence in this community, in this region.
It does, actually, yes.
So tell us about the event. From a food perspective, all the money raised is going to go to the Can Lime Foundation. But what will I know the event is sold out. It's gone well. People have been interested in this. But just so we get a flavor of what's going on, and maybe to plug it for next year, because another charity is a worthwhile cause. What's the theme of the night?
Well, we a friend of mine at Uptown 21, Nick Benninger, we after work. A few nights after work, we were just talking about how we could sort of coordinate our strengths, and we decided. I think it was Nick who thought, well, wouldn't it be great if we could do something in the line of the Triple D, off the Food Network, diners, drives, and dives, that type of theme, crazy sort of diner food, and we could host it at my place at Chainsaw,
right?
And so what we've come up with is a 100-person sold-out event that starts at 5 o'clock with networking and like an hour of networking and canapes and some drinks and background music, and then at 6 we're going to sit down family style. So people just sit down, big long tables, and
very nice.
And on the tables we're going to bring out. Sleeman's our beer sponsor, so there's going to be lots of beer to go around, and we're going to have some nice bottles of wine available for purchase. But the first course is going to be a gourmet poutine, Uptown 21 style. So
there we go.
It's to describe it, hand-cut fries, topped with fried pickles, smoked local spider dogs, organic curds, fried onions, Jack Daniel's syrup, truffle veal roll, and real gold, so gold leaf.
Oh, wow.
And then Whole Lotta Gelada is supplying the palate cleanse. I think we're going to need to clean our palate after that one. Chris from Whole Lotta Gelada is supplying some kind of crazy sorbet. We don't know the exact flavor yet. And then the main course is going to be mostly conducted by Hogtails, Chris from Hogtails, and
Chris Corrigan, yep.
in Laurelwood, and he's hopefully going to have his big mobile smoker parked out front, chainsaw on King Street, and he's sort of described he's going to have the 4 types of smoked meat, which is typical, I think, of his plates. And then we're going to have, I think, Nick was saying maybe some mac and cheese and some hillbilly gourmet sides is what he described.
There we go. This is taking place at Chainsaw in Uptown Waterloo. Is there a website that you could direct us to? I know that it is sold out. There might be people interested in this, especially the Lyme Disease Foundation aspect.
Yeah, the Lyme Disease Foundation, I think it's canlyme.com.
Okay.
And the website, we've got an Eventbrite site that I think you can still see the description of the event. Now, it is sold out, but we will open it up to people who want to come in sort of near the end of the meal and, for social and, maybe for the after party, if as it were.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. I appreciate your time. It's a great event for a worthwhile cause, and it happens on August 29th. And people can go to the Eventbrite page and find out Bushwhacker Lip Smacker right there.
That's right. Thanks. My pleasure.
Thanks a lot, Ryan.
Bye now.
That's Ryan Good of Chainsaw Saloon in Uptown Waterloo, and their kind of interesting event coming up. Now, there's some interesting events happening here in the last couple of minutes. I know it's too bad that you can't smell on the radio. We've got the internet covered and we got the radio covered. We just can't get that smello radio happening, and this is wonderful. So that really was fast because all the time that I was talking was only 2 or 3 minutes with Ryan. You've got that lamb darkened up nicely on the outside, and yet it's the same color. If people can't see this, it's the same color all the way through. And that's beautiful, a beautiful rosy pink.
It's perfect, yeah. It's a consistent color all the way through. You don't have any char marks on it. There's no gray areas at all. And you can see when I pulled the 2 racks out of the vac pack bag, they're both cooked perfectly the same. The only thing is there's no char marks or no searing on the one. Right. But I just wanted to show you that it's both identical.
Now, if you wanted to, you could have one bag of, or one package, I guess, of lamb that goes in a few minutes earlier for a longer period of time to get a farther along, well done kind
Exactly.
of,
you just
meat.
set the temperature to a different temperature. So I'm in the range of mid-rare, so about 133. If you wanted to go up to 140 and get a medium, anything like that.
And then searing in the pan is just minutes to put a little bit of color.
It's just a really hot pan, a little bit of seasoning on the outside again, and it's
what a lot of fun.
It's truly a thrill. I'm very excited.
Everybody should have one.
Yeah.
Have one at home, or you could use Wildcraft Wherever Catering as well. Well, what kind of fun events are coming up for you around the corner? Is there anything that's you want to tell us about?
Next week, Lance Armstrong's in town. We're doing a couple fundraisers, rides for cancer. We're going to be catering those events, so it's going to be exciting to be with him again.
Yeah, that is. And then how many people will be there?
It ranges. There's a few different events. I'm looking at a few hundred people throughout the weekend. So
what will your role be? Are you just sort of overseeing, and then you've got to monitor and coordinate a dozen other cooks?
Both, yeah, I do that. It's a combination of all the restaurants in the charcoal group. So Bauer Kitchen, the Martini's, Del Dante's, Charcoal Steakhouse, Wildcraft. We're all being a part of this, and we're all going to be working together for it. So. I like to get down and dirty, still like to cook and have fun. So.
Well, you have to, don't you? Yeah. I mean, the executive chef thing is all well and good, and but I imagine that even if you're an executive chef and you have to do a lot of the food costing and arranging and scheduling and some of the administrative duties, you still want to get down behind the line every once in a while, don't you?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, put on the apron.
Do you think Thomas Keller ever cooks?
Yeah, I do.
Do you?
Totally does. You should see his kitchen.
Yeah,
it's spotless.
Spotless.
It is.
Yeah. Well, no, it's a linea. It's Ackett's that's apparently silent. Like it's absolutely totally quiet when they're preparing. Isn't that interesting? Well, thanks a lot, Scott. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
Some of that.
Can't wait to eat that. Right.
That's it for the show this week. Thanks to Roger Mooking, Ryan Good of Chainsaw, and Scott Yates of Wildcraft Wherever Catering. Please visit 570news.com for an archive of past shows. Follow The Food Show at twitter.com/570foodshow and read my restaurant reviews in Echo Weekly each Thursday. Join us next week for a visit with all things tea in Belmont Village and the good folks from FoodLink, giving us some anticipated highlights of the September 18th Taste Local, Taste Fresh event. Remember, eat wisely and eat well. Thank you for joining us here on The Food Show, only on 570 News.